Well, tonight we are learning a lot more about why the Oakland police chief, LeRonne Armstrong, was sidelined, and we are hearing from him directly. Oakland's new mayor, Sheng Tao, put Armstrong on leave almost 3 weeks ago after an outside law firm found the department mishandled a pair of misconduct cases. Our Juliette Goodrich got the first look tonight at an independent report that was critical of the chief. The key parts dealing with the chief say allegations against him were either unfounded or not sustained. But a footnote to a question on the chief's performance of duty did say that investigators, quote, concluded that he was not credible during his interview and appeared to downplay his involvement in tracking the investigation. In a conversation with Juliette, Chief Armstrong defended himself and told her what he'd do differently if he gets his job back.
Get your workout in, huh? Good to see you, brother.
What does it feel like to be on the sidelines outside right now? What does that feel like?
It's tough. It is a very tough feeling to not be able to lead the Oakland Police Department.
When you heard about this report and the fact that the mayor made this decision, what was that like for you, and what are you feeling right now?
It was shocking to me, to be quite honest. Shocking that someone would do an investigation like this, that in my opinion was so biased and so focused on trying to create a crisis. It really was surprising.
Certain things I'm curious about. You admitted to not reading the ROIs before signing them. Explain that, and is that common practice?
That is common practice amongst major chiefs in America. There is not one chief of a major police department in America that actually reads every report. We're talking over 200 reports a year. But it's important that you read the really important reports, and I do. When we're talking about officer-involved shootings, when we're talking about excessive force cases, when we're talking about cases where officers will be terminated, those are cases for sure that I would read. But in this case, the evidence that was brought to me was about a vehicle collision that was not reported.
I mean, is there anything in there that would be shocking or new or not?
I don't think it is, but I think things require explanation because of the way it was written.
If you do get your job back,
yeah.
Would you do anything differently after seeing the report, after knowing the scrutiny that you were under?
Yeah, I think there are recommendations that came out of the report that I think are important to improve our investigations process. And so I do think that they're good recommendations that could be implemented and could make us better.
So what keeps you so passionate about keeping this job, maintaining it, getting it back, and being in the city that you grew up in?
Well, Julia, look where I'm from. This wasn't easy to get to the top of this police department. This was a kid that came from poverty. This was a kid that had to fight on the streets in order to make it. And so to make it to this point, starting from here, and then have someone take it away from me, it's just not the way in which I want my career to end or my reputation to be. There are people in this community that look up to me.
You could retire.
I could retire today. I'm here because I really am committed to making Oakland safer. I'm committed to improving this police department.
All right, so Juliette, did anything surprise you about him, about your interview with him that you noticed?
Well, I appreciated that he wanted to talk and be open. And, you know, this comes from a really personal place. His brother was killed to gun violence at a young age. And so the streets of Oakland are something that he wants to maintain, to make safer. And he's really, you know, for those victims of gun violence. And it comes from his upbringing and what happened to his own brother.
So that's really why he wants to be at work.
Absolutely. I mean, you heard in the piece, he could retire today. And so why is he going through all of this extreme to get his job back? And he says it just comes from a very personal place. And he's so blessed, he says, that the community has really, you know, supported him. But he says they're not the ones that are going to make the decision. Ultimately, he hopes that the mayor will see that support.
Is he frustrated with the mayor? Is he angry at her?
Yeah, you know, I asked that. I'm like, you know, are you mad? Or, you know, here we have a new mayor, or you have a new mayor in Oakland. And he said, I'm not mad. I'm not frustrated. He understands that there's a report. She had a job to do. He just hopes that she'll look at the report that says it's unfounded and also realize that he's got this community support that wants him back on the job. He wants to put his uniform on and get back on the job.
All right, Juliette, thank you.